Hello everyone and welcome to my game comparison analysis based on my gamer profile. The two games I will be comparing today are Risk of Rain 2 and Path of Exile. I will give some quick information about both the games and explain why they represent my gamer profile by both showing what they excel at and what they lack. After that I will compare both games to each other. So the first game I will be talking about is Risk of Rain 2. It is a roguelike indie game and sequel to Risk of Rain 1, developed by Hopo Games and published by Gearbox. The first game is a platformer shooter, while Risk of Rain 2 is a third-person shooter. It can be played as a co-op, but I usually choose to play it alone, and it's more fun that way. The aim of the game is to go through as many levels as you can without dying. The items you get throughout the game are random from chests, and you open the chest with money that drops from killed monsters. You can also change the way you can play the game with modifiers called artifacts. For example, this one artifact lets you choose what items you get. With this, you remove any RNG from the game and can make a build, which is pretty good for someone with a high design score on their profile. The second game of today's interest is Path of Exile. It's an action roleplay game by GGG Studios. Players control a single character with an overhead perspective as they go through areas, kill monsters and get loot. In the downtime, other activities await you, like spending hours flipping items on an auction house for in-game currency profit, or decorating your hideout and unleashing your inner home decorator, which kinda feeds my design and creativity aspect, since you need to do many quests to get enough currency to buy the decorations you need. It is kinda unbalanced since a small pot of dirt costs the same as an Aztec temple pillar, but who am I to complain? So, about the gamer profile. You can compare it to a certain yellow game mascot. The aspect I value most and that I will talk mostly today are action, mastery, and achievement. I think these games cover these pretty good, and I'll show you why. Action. Risk of Rain 2. When you start Risk of Rain 2, it's very slow. There are maybe 1 or 2 enemies who spawn per 30 seconds. However, as the game goes on, more and more come until it becomes an all-out zoo. The action becomes so fast-paced by the end of a section, you barely know what killed you, since most of the things one-shot you. You also have to plan carefully, as there's a nice equilibrium between your time and items. If you spend too much time getting items in a stage, the enemy gets stronger and you die. If you go through the stages too fast without getting items, you deal no damage, you have no HP, and you die. This kind of feeds my mastery part as well, since you have to make crucial decisions on whether to commit to an item or trust your luck and continue. Killing stuff and blowing them to pieces is always fun for me, and this game gives me what I want. I don't know why I killed the poor crabs and purple monkeys, but I do anyways. My immersion score was pretty low, so the lack of lore in the game didn't bother me at all. Overall, you can shoot the monsters, you can slap the monsters, you can set them on fire. You can spit on them if you like. The action just never ends, and I love that about this game. Path of Exile. Path of Exile also starts very slow. You kill a zombie here, you kill a zombie there, another one here, another one there, a crab if you want, another crab here, and then you kill a bigger zombie. Don't let this discourage you, however, because by the end of the long story questline you will be killing 50 monsters a second. From the little zombie crabs to celestial ghosts, this game lets you explode anything you want in your exploding range. The action is truly never ending. I think there's a story in this game somewhere as well, but I didn't want to sit through monologues about how evil these Roman soldier knockoffs are. You have almost an endless way to customize your character when it comes to gameplay, and it's really fun to try different builds. My favorite, for example, is a mine build. You put down mines, you explode the mines, and you watch the enemy die a horrible fire death in a millisecond. That is if you have good gear, otherwise it's a very slow death, which might be yours just as well. This game speaks to me because between all the other things that entertain my gamer profile, action speaks the loudest indeed. I simply can't get bored of killing my 2 millionth monster and watching them explode. Mastery. Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain 2 is all about learning your items and skills. You have to be very fast at making decisions, otherwise you might just get one shot while you're thinking about what that one item that dropped does. The gameplay requires you to have very fast reflexes, as every enemy hits real hard, and you don't have a base health regen, so if you get hit more than 3 times in the first stage you die. Of course that is if you're playing the hardest difficulty, but why would you play anything other than that? Once you get through the steep learning curve, the game becomes even more fast-paced, and with different characters to master, it becomes so much more fun. Strategizing on what kind of build you want in that game is fun, actually getting the required items by sheer luck is even more fun. But the challenge of the game is what makes me keep coming back at it. There's always a challenge, since not only you fight the monsters, but also the RNG itself. If you have bad RNG, the only thing that will keep you alive is how good you play the game. Path of Exile. Mastering Path of Exile is a different thing entirely. There's a huge feature creep in the 2013 game. Over the 7 years and multiple expansions and leagues, there are mind-boggling features in that game that require all the knowledge you need to gather in that 3-month league the feature got brought in. You can play Minecraft, you can cosplay as a guy in Ocean's 11, you can be Sherlock Holmes, you can click purple crystals, help a female Indiana Jones, collect trading cards, make monsters out of tiny black liquids, and then kill them. If this is not enough, there's a whole progression system where you have to go through maps, solve puzzles on what conqueror to spawn, and then do it over and over again. These mini puzzles are extremely fun and so much rewarding to learn. Since no one bothers to learn 7 years worth of minigames and puzzles, if you manage to keep with all this, you are in for a profit. The challenge of keeping all this information overload is what I find the best about this game. Because just when you think you know everything, something comes up that makes you go, huh, I didn't know about this. Mastering this requires so much time, but it's definitely worth it. The game keeps throwing challenge after challenge at you, but I love it. Coming up and strategizing on how to overcome them is simply fun. You can also play with other people, but honestly, why would you? People just make the monsters in the area stronger, and then they don't do any damage and then die. They find the game twice as hard as it is. I just would remove half my gear instead. Achievement. Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain 2 has so many items that need to be unlocked by, you guessed it, achievements. A lot of them. And I love getting them. The sense of accomplishment you get from unlocking achievements is just satisfying. Finding all the secrets, doing all the weird things the game has is my cup of tea. If you manage to get all the items, unlock all the skills, get all the mastery skins, then you can start to actually play the game, since then you can start planning builds on certain items and become that little lizard god you wanted to be one day. Path of Exile. When it comes to achievements and completion, Path of Exile serves it on a whole new level. Let alone having achievements on the base game, there's a league system where every 3 months they introduce a new league with a new mechanic. Each league comes with 40 challenges, from very simple main storyline completions to grinding like there's no tomorrow, or doing the hardest difficulty boss that is, with conditions like getting no hit. I love doing these challenges every single time, and if that's not enough, they give rewards for every 12, 24 and 36 challenges you'd get. This league, for example, you could get 3 helmet skins for 12 challenges, a cat pet with a bow tie and a monocle for 24, and a portal effect for 36. I'm a sucker when it especially comes to skins that are time limited, and I have to get them all. It can also be very challenging to get these at least 36 challenges, but it wouldn't be fun otherwise. Another aspect that affects the gameplay is getting items. Items are very heavily RNG dependent. Or you can also try to farm enough currency to buy them off other people as well. But the power you feel when you one-shot a dude that killed you 50 times before is unmatched. By the end of your farming session, you can pretty much one-tap anything, and I love that about this game. Your correct skill tree planning pays off. Speaking of the skill tree, it's huge. You need to plan it right, otherwise you will be stuck and no items can crutch you from that. Designing your own character build is also extremely fun, seeing what works and fixing what doesn't. So, overall, when it comes to how each game scores according to my profile, Risk of Rain takes it when it comes to action. It takes about 5 minutes to start a fast-paced gameplay, and it feeds my explosion addiction just right. Path of Exile requires a lot of planning and time to get the same face-melting fun. When it comes to mastery, however, I can think of only a few games that comes to Path of Exile level of things to master. You need to have a lot of hours just to know about all the itsy-bitsy things about the accumulated features in this game. Path of Exile challenges everything in a player, from regular gameplay skill to planning to even good knowledge and economy. If someone makes a build using a cheap priced item, you better snipe them all off the market, because in a few hours they will be 10 times the price. Although Risk of Rain 2 requires good reflexes, it just doesn't come close to the level of complexity Path of Exile can offer to players. When it comes to achievement, Path of Exile again takes a cake, coming with 14 new achievements to complete every 3 months, with their own time limited cosmetics is just so hard to pass on. My completionist in me looks forward to it every time they reveal a new league, and the power you feel when your build works is just something else entirely. Risk of Rain 2 comes short of that, since once you get all the achievements you can't get anymore. I hope I could explain myself on why I prefer these games when it comes to my gaming profile, and I hope I could persuade at least some people to give these games a try. Although Risk of Rain 2 is not, Path of Exile is free to play, so you can always hop in. Thanks for watching, and take care.